Hey, good morning. It is Sunday. It's time for coffee talk. I've got my coffee and it's very full, which is why I'm trying to be very careful here. It's another dark roast, I know. Surprise, surprise, in a standard white mug. You can see I've got the big camera picture right here. And that's because my camera stopped working. So I dug around in the back of the computer. You know how computer stuff just randomly stops for no apparent reason? Doesn't that bug you? That bothers me. It's irritating. So the camera just stops. I had a meeting. Camera's not working. Fine, we do it without the meeting. At least the audio was still going. And I forgot about it. The meeting was on Tuesday. I hadn't used the camera since then. So start up the computer and the camera today to do the coffee talk. And I remember the camera doesn't work. So I'm like, God dang it. So I pull the computer out and I have a bad wire on my ancient monitor. I have a second monitor, but it's from about 1935. Monochrome green. And... it's pretty old. It is from, I bet it's early 2000s. Might even be 90. I don't know. But anyway, I've got an adapter on the back from one architecture to another. I'm not even gonna. It's before DVI. What was it? Any RGB or something like that? Anyway, so the monitor dies as I pull it out. So I fixed that. And then I pull, you know, the standard thing with USB stuff, right? You pull it out, you put it back in, and hopefully it recognizes it. So I pull it out, put it back in, so to speak, and finally get the camera going. But it's reset itself to the wide view, like you can see right here. Now you see the big picture. Can't zoom into my pretty face. So then I say, okay, I'll just open up my software for the webcam, and I'll change my settings back to where it was. Nope, software won't open. Don't you love that stuff? How'd you like that story? Today we started with going off track at the very beginning. Complete sidebar right off the bat. All right, what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about channel news. We'll look at the missions and specials for currently. A couple interesting things there. We'll talk about the subjects du jour. I've got numerous things to talk about there. An interesting discussion that I had with a guy that's right here. I'll show you that. Talking a little bit about gameplay philosophy and some things like that. Started off a little acrimonious and got a lot better. And I think we both walked away happy with it. And then a interesting stat website that I found that has a stat that I have not seen before. And we'll take a look at that and compare mine to a very good player and see, do stats mean anything? Do they really mean anything? Let's find out. Stream and channel news. You can see that I've got the Carn Off. I don't know. You know, I went on the website and I had the Welsh lady tell me how to say it, and I still can't say it the way she says it. So Carnarvon. Anyway, fear not. Tier 8, British heavy tank. This is pretty good premium tank. Fairly close to a Carnarvon normal without the Action X part. Not quite as good. And you say, but Guido, the Carnarvon is terrible. No, that's not true. I think I've showed that in a couple videos in the recent past, that thing has the best DPM at tier 8. It is amazing. And this one has good DPM, but it's also a premium, so you're getting the extra credits and the extra experience and the crew experience. So this is pretty good. I got it at the 80% discount, so that's how far I made it on the mission. Cost about $15. Pretty good deal for a tier 8 with quite a few other goodies along with it. All of the personal, whatever those things are. What are those things? The personal bonuses. It's Sunday morning. Give me a break. I can't remember what they're called. Reserves. Personal reserves. Those things. Where am I on the grind for the 50 TP, which is the tier 9 Polish heavy tank? I have the turret, as you can see. I've got the big gun. I have the big engine. It's basically all top line except for the radio, which I may just bypass for giggles on the way to the tier 10. So I'm on my way. You can see that I have a whole 10,000 experience on this thing, and things are getting a little better. Not quite up to snuff with some of my better tier 9s yet. I'm only averaging 2,200, which is not great. But remember, I ran that stock for quite a long time. In fact, I'm at 118 battles, and I've only just in the last 5 or 6 battles got the top engine. So now we're basically as good as we're going to be play-wise or combat or game-wise. 50% win rate and only 927 on the experience. So hopefully a lot of this starts to come up. When you compare the numbers to other tanks I did well at tier 9, it's close, minus the damage caused to other vehicles, which is a little bit low by 100 or 200. This does speak to a lot about this game and where it's gone. I don't know if any of these other good tier 9s that I liked quite a bit, if I would get up into the 59, 57% win rate driving it solo in today's game. It's an interesting discussion, but that's one for later. That is basically the stream news. Let's move on. I said stream news? I meant channel news, game news. Stream news. I haven't done much streaming in the last about 3 or 4 days, but I do plan to keep on with it, so stick with me, and we'll see you on the stream. Now let's move on. Let us get our shill on now that I'm a CC. It's part of my contract to try to push every tank that they sell. Hopefully nobody turned off the video right there, because that's not even close to true. Okay, T92 light tank. Hey, this is a good tank. I actually enjoyed this tank. Notice that these are the packages, and you can get down to the loaded one, and it's $44.99. You have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the vehicles tab, which is here, before you find just the tank. So it's there. It's just hidden. So careful with that if you don't want all the other goodies that come with it. Thunderbolt's out there. The Turan. The SU-85i. This is only 23 more hours. Now remember, this is not the Su-76i, which was so overpowered they pulled it within something like 24 or 48 hours from the shop. I wonder if that was a mistake putting that in there. That was quite a few years ago, but that was an interesting little episode. Cromwell B. So those are the new featured stuff. And quick starter kit's still there. The one I had that was interesting that I found is the Amazon. So if you do the Amazon Pay deal, then you can get a bonus on gold. So that's actually a pretty decent deal if you're in the market for gold. Premium account, the only thing there is from last week, the same thing. There's still the 30 days at 25% off. That's a decent deal for premium days, because they don't often do premium day sales. These are the vehicles. This is what I talked about, where you've got to really crank down. Alpine Tiger still there, Centurion, WZ, 50T, yada, yada, yada. And finally, when you get down here, now you're starting to find those same tanks just as the tank itself. So there's your T92. It's $30.99. If you just want a T92, it's 30 bucks. Are these prices going up? I think they are. I think they go up while we watch them. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Here's a sidebar. Hey, sidebar. It's sidebar time. Let's go off onto a different rabbit trail. It's pretty amazing how much the content is in this game, isn't it? And I'm not gonna go down on one side or the other of it. Whoa, so to speak. But it's interesting to me how expensive tanks are. You're talking even 20 bucks for a tank would be kind of outrageous. Now you start talking about tier 8 tanks, premiums at $50, $55 for a tank, for one. And how many are in here now? I don't know, 200 premiums, maybe more. Pretty impressive, actually. I don't know how I feel about that, to be quite honest. I guess I'm not that bothered. If you've got the disposable income and that's what you want to do. If you consider other hobbies that you do, let's say you're a golfer. You're a golfer and you're going to go golfing twice on the weekend. Let's say you're that ate up with golfing. Now, unless you are on a golf course or you live on one or you're paying for a golf membership, in which case that's quite expensive in and of itself, in the term of thousands of dollars and more, depending on what the kind of golf club it is. You're still going to pay 60, 70, 80 bucks for a round. And if you're at a public course or cheaper area, maybe 20 or 30. But that's 20 or 30, then you're going to have the equipment, yada, yada, yada. So really, as a hobby, as hobbies go, if this is what you do, then it's really not that much more than, say, golf or skiing or something that costs a considerable amount of money. Now, it's considerably more than just going out and running, I guess. Minus some shoes and such. Anyway, that was a big sidebar, wasn't it? Let's move on. Boosters, don't buy boosters. Don't buy boosters. Specials. Same stuff, yeah. It's all the same stuff, because this is the featured specials, old featured specials that are not new, but they're specials. There's nothing to add here, fellas. It's just all the same stuff. I think the most interesting things are the T-92. Oh, that's right. There was one other thing buried down here. Maybe it was in the vehicles. I did not realize this particular tank is still for sale. Somewhere in here, the Type 62 is for sale. I don't know if you guys know that. That is the one tank that I covet. Of all the tanks in this game that I don't have, the one tank I covet is the Type 62. I think it's down here maybe. 34. Where is that little guy? I just found him hanging out alone and unafraid. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, you have to believe me. There's a Type 62 for sale somewhere in the store that I can't find. Okay, man, let's move on to the missions and whatnot. What is whatnot anyway? Is that everything else? We're going to talk missions and whatnot. That is everything. Whatnot. It's a strange term, isn't it? I'll have to look that one up on the next break. I have breaks. You guys don't. When I turn off the record, then I do some more things and I reset stuff up and I have a little break and I have a coffee. So let's have a little coffee break. You guys think it's just one big awesome recording. Or maybe you just think it's one big recording. Depending on whether you believe it's awesome or not. I'll leave that to your opinion. I got onto another sidebar. I got sidetracked again. Reward received. There it is. The Carnarvon. Carnarvon AX. And all the other little goodies that I got when I paid my $15. Which it actually gave me 2 camos. I was thinking that for just a second. Fear not. I am quite yeah, there you go. Suitable for Carnarvon Action X. Initially, I was wondering if I could take it off and put it on any other tank, which clearly not, because it has a very specific kind of color. But it would be interesting if it just sort of draped it over any other tank you wanted. I don't see why not. Who cares? Anyway, you've also got this Royal Hunter camo, and I believe I'm gonna have to look at this. I think you can actually take this special camo off. You can't put anything else, and then reapply something else on your Carn Off on. I'll take a look at that. So we've got affirmative. And interesting, what affirmative does is takes you back to the garage. So what does close do? Also takes you back to the garage. So you have to go back to your missions and click. Oh no, there you go. I could have clicked the mission tab. Okay. That was me learning in real time. That was me learning in real time. Okay. K91 is on track. Tank Mastery, the ace stuff is still there. And this, here we go. Supply rate is this weekend. That's kind of the standard. It looks like to be the standard go-to weekend mission specials if they don't have anything else big going on. And it gets you lots of little stuff, little goodies and things. So nothing wrong with that, really. These are probably the best when you get over into the crew experience multipliers, because while I don't suggest that you buy the personal reserve, see how I captured that word right off the bat? You don't have to think about it. Personal reserves. Well, I recommend you don't buy them. Winning them is fantastic. This is the back to school special thing. You can see I did not chase this. And it's just, I don't know, I was grinding the Polish Tier 9 so hard, so to speak, that, we're going off the rails with the so to speak. I was grinding that so hard that I didn't do a lot of lights or, what is it, mediums, and virtually no tank destroyers. Although I did play the count on Jagdpanzer 105 quite a bit on my sheriff account, and I did artillery quite a bit on my sheriff account. That was pretty fun, actually. I got a lot of counters on that. I just put a video out of whacking 2 guys in one game. But those are the specials and missions as far as this week goes. I think the next thing we're going to talk about, where is it? October preview. All right, let's move on to that. Check out this little lighting trick I just found, since we're just doing random stuff. I'm going to bring up something on my other screen that's got a white background. Oh, wow. Maybe I'll just leave that. Huh. Watch, it'll go away. Ooh, it's a Word document with a white background, and it glows. Okay, let's go over to the right monitor. Here we are. We're doing this in real time, folks. We are doing this in real time. What do we have? October, Halloween event teaser. Hey, tournament missions. Here's an interesting idea that they've got. There's apparently going to be missions within tournaments, i.e. objectives, which give you goodies. Rewards for completing specific objectives. Man, I don't, wow. Because the objective is obviously to win. Would they create it? Would they create something so good that people wanted that they would throw a win to get it just to finish a mission objective? Stay tuned. Huh. I feel like that could go badly. It could be very cool. I feel like it has the potential to go badly. Okay, there's going to be a new premium. A new premium. So they're going to do the thing where if you're a premium account holder from October 3 to 10, you get the first shot at it. Interesting. I have no essay on what that tank is. I don't even have any like NDA essay. I got nothing. I got nothing. And even if I had NDA essay, I wouldn't tell you because that's the NDA. I'm not, right? Okay. Goodness. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm not going to edit. All right, I'm probably going to edit that part out. The said vehicle goes on general sale for everybody from October 10 to 22. This is going to be raw footage today. I've decided that on the fly. Since we're doing everything kind of on the fly, this is going to be a raw footage event right here. You know, I have a proposal that I'm doing. Let's go off another sidebar. And it's going to have some video stuff like this in it where I'm talking about the proposal. I've gone back and forth whether I want to do it professional or more casual conversational style, kind of like we do here. I also, in the back of my mind, said, you know what, I should just turn the camera on and whatever comes out for the next 15, 20 minutes. Kind of like we're doing right here. So maybe this is going to be a test balloon, okay? And I'm going to see how it works out. But what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to show it other than to you guys. So it's going to be one of those self-fulfilling prophecy test balloons where you're going to like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work. And then you'll do it, and then you'll look at it, and you'll say, oh, that's cool. And then when you put it out, it's terrible. Because you believe your own press, don't you? You do. You believe your own press. All right, where were we? Let's get back on track here. Weekly tank sales. Yeah, okay, whatever. October 4th to November 1st, special month-long tank sale. We've got the Sabaton Primo Victoria is out. We've got the Mutz. We have Tank Mystery Missions. No other info on that, what that is. Remember, it's hot October, so Halloween's coming up. There's going to be some kind of event like that. There's the premium thing they just talked about. A new vehicle stalks the battlefield. Why is that twice? I don't know why. Progetto. Top Secret Special Missions. Top Secret Special Missions from October 15 to 22nd. So what is a battle that was in October? Historical turning point during World War II. Hint, it did not take place in Europe. Oh. What tank battle did not take place in Europe that was a historical turning point? Or is it not a tank battle? Is it Midway? Is it Lady Gulf? Why would that be something we would do? I don't know. Strange. On-track missions. Monster tanks arrive. That's why I continued to dig down on this thing. By the way, this is off the Armored Patrol. Shout out to those guys. Or guy. I don't know. Oh man, monster tanks. I had nothing for the Halloween thing last year. Driving around in the Halloween landscape fighting a monster tank was... I know people liked it. I got it. That's fine. I'm not saying, hey, you don't do it, or I'm mad and I'm going to quit because they put it in. But personally, whatever. The Leviathan. It was boring. To me. My opinion. Anyway, monster tank. So what does that mean? A duo of frightening mechanized monsters for Halloween. Hint, they're heavies, and each is a different tier and nation. So, is that a new tank? Is it like the Warhammer tank, so it's got some weird monster stuff on it? Are they going to go there? Is it just a couple heavies that they haven't had out for a while? Or is it just a couple heavies they have had out for a while? I don't know. This thing shows like an IS-3 type of hull right here with big scratches on the front. So, more to come on that. More to come on that. And that is the October preview. Let's move on to the subjects du jour. I think that's now a section. That's official. It's on my script. It says subjects du jour. It's channel news, missions and specials, and subjects du jour. There you go. Okay, folks, the first thing is the Carn Off on challenges ended. Hopefully you bought yours, because if you're watching this, by the time I finish this up, wrap it up, create it, produce it, that's the word I was looking for, produce it and upload it to YouTube, probably it's too late to buy this thing, which surprised me a little bit as I was digging around this morning to find the subjects du jour. Because the reason I'm bringing this up is that their timing on things sometimes, I try to wrap my mind around what they're doing or why they're doing it that way. So what's happened here, from what I can tell, is this ended on Friday. Remember, that was the last day. And it ended, I thought it ended in the afternoon. It was a weird time. I want to say 1400, is that right? Or maybe it was the morning. Potentially it was the morning. And if it was the morning, that makes sense, because what's happened here is they said, hey, for 24 hours after this marathon finishes, you can use your coupon. And I went, oh, that's cool. It ends on a Friday. They're going to give you through the weekend to make your choice. Nope. Nope. Sort of, I guess. It was 2 days, and it was 48 hours, I think, based on when it ended. And I think it ended in the morning. I remember, I'm talking Central Daylight Time. This is U.S., right? And the U.S. is a big country, and it's got 3 or 4, I guess. Well, maybe 5 or 6, counting Alaska and Hawaii. But on the mainland, the lower 48, 3, what's it got? Eastern, Central, 4, right? Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern. There you go. We got 4. Is there another one way out on the east on the tip? Like Atlantic time? Potentially. Don't know. But that doesn't matter. Let's call it 4. We're going to call it 4. This is a huge sidebar. We're really off going random here. The point is, they gave you 48 hours. And that ended, depending on where you lived, reference my earlier discussion of all the time zones that are going on, either at 9, no, wait a minute, where is it? Okay, Sunday, September 30th, at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. So by the time you see this, I mean, let's say you finished it Friday and you went, okay, I got the weekend to make my decision, or maybe you were busy and you didn't get to it, and you're thinking, hey, I play tanks on Sunday, so I'll get up late and I'll have coffee with Guido. Guido doesn't upload his stuff. He's slow and old, so sometime around 10 or 11 or whenever he gets to it, the video is put up, and I can sit down with coffee, and I'll watch the video, and then I'll go ahead and pull the trigger on buying that cool Carnarvon with my 90% discount. Too late, loser. Too late. The sale ended on the morning of Sunday for some reason. No, why? Why, dudes? Come on, man. Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. And it can be tied, if corporate, which lives in another completely different time zone over in Europe, decides that it's all going to be uniform, well, it makes things further away from them really wacky. And it's not that hard to figure out the time thing. It just takes a little effort. There's no reason why this shouldn't have been till the end of Sunday, or at least for each time zone into the next morning right before the reset. Let people make that decision, and hey, it's the weekend. Decide on the weekend. Is this getting exercised about a whole lot of nothing? Yeah, it is. But it's those little irritations that drive people crazy, and when they stack enough of those up, then people start bailing, or they're not as interested anymore, or they just once again go, well, there you go. It's silliness going on. I don't know, man. It's wacky. All right, let's move on. There's 2 little things right here. Number 1, the game is up for another golden joystick for the still playing category. That made me laugh. I'm thinking, yeah, well, I'm still playing. Here we are 8 years later, or 6, or whatever it is. Math in public, I don't know. It's a long time. Still playing category. That makes me laugh. Here's the other nominees, these games. Tui, we don't talk about these guys. Some of those are good. Pokemon Go, really? Holy cow. I don't know if I've played any of these. No, No. Yes, I think once or twice. No, my son is all over these two. I play Pokemon Go, ish. It's on my phone, so every day I goof around with it for about 5-10 minutes. I don't really know what's going on. Rainbow Six Siege, no. I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of Warframe. World of Warcraft, yeah, I've played it a couple times, but years ago. Anywho, vote for it. Is there a link? There you go. There's some kind of link right here. So actually, it's not a link. Vote here. There you go. Go to the Armored Patrol. Is this Harkonnen? Since we're doing real time stuff and I don't know what I'm doing. No, this is not Harkonnen's blog. Anyway, I don't know whose blog it is. Good guy. Good guy. Good guy. I don't know who it is, but he's a good guy or gal. Wargaming Center. This is actually interesting to me now that because it's all about me. Now that I have a sheriff account, actually I have a press account, but I think they're taking that away. And I've got my normal account, and you're allowed to have multiple accounts now. They don't care. They're going to actually bring multiple account support into the Wargaming Center. Now, some people are like, Guido, why do you use that? Yeah, I get it. It's not the greatest system, but if they streamline it and get it down to where it does things where you don't have to hunt around for your passwords and all that stuff. It's just bringing functionality to the game. I'm all about that. What I'd really like to see this do is also unify the gold and the doubloons. And I just read an article on that. It's probably not going to happen because the economies are totally different in World of Warships and World of Tanks. And that's unfortunate. It would be nice if they did some kind of conversion thing, but once you start doing conversion of the premium what's the word I'm looking for? Gold and doubloons. You can potentially get into a situation where people buy it in one and then translate it to the other. And it's a mess. That would be cool. Build a little economy. Try to corner the market on doubloons and gold and start trading it, Am I supposed to talk about that kind of thing when I'm at CC? I don't think so. I don't think it's possible anyway because you can't transfer gold. Anywho, functionality is good. I like functionality, so there you go. If you are somebody with multiple accounts or you use the Wargaming Center because you like to jump from game to game and that kind of stuff easy, then that's probably good news to you. Here's an interesting one that I just found. So, remember I reported a while back ago that you could buy crews with zero skill crews were for sale. Well, apparently over on RU, you can buy a 0 skill crew, but it's got a 0 skill crew for Brothers in Arms, and it's got enough experience for another skill. So right off the bat, you are buying a crew with Brothers in Arms already, and another skill, and the skill you start on is only the 2nd skill as far as experience requirements. But, and you get some other goodies. You can see some gold and some other stuff. But it's pre-trained for a certain tank of a nation. So you waste the gold from the package to retrain them for another tank? Question mark. I don't know if they know exactly how that's supposed to work. I can't read Russian, so I do not know exactly what's going on with that. We haven't seen it on NA or EU as far as I can tell. That's an interesting development. It's another trial balloon, I think, that they've just floated. Kind of like the insurance thing, seeing where they go with it. But man, buying skilled crews, yeah, that is definitely treading into the pay-to-win regime right there, because the crews are probably one of the more important things. And I will tell you that I've learned that quite a bit playing the sheriff account, where every crew is maximized. They've got every single skill. I don't really know why they do that. I wish they didn't. I think it's because if they give you experience or whatever and you have to select it, it's a lot of futzing around. It just kind of makes it easy if they just add all the skills to them. But it makes a big difference because the crews are amazing, and it adds that little edge on top. And especially if you're a good player, having one more little edge on top is quite a advantage overall. So I thought that was interesting. You might be interested in that, and more than likely, I would say that if this goes on sale in NA, it'll sell like hotcakes. I mean, I'm just being honest. People are going to be up in arms and not like it, probably. Some people. It's a standard thing. Some people love it, some don't, blah, blah, blah. Arty, great, no, that kind of thing. But I don't think, despite all that, I think it will sell quite well for them if you're selling crews like this. Another thing, let's move on. Last week, I think I talked about recovery, and I didn't really know how it worked, but I found it. Depot, vehicles in garage, recovery tab. I don't sell premiums. I have no idea why you would sell a premium. Some people make a living off selling premiums and buying them back. I can't figure it out. But if you're a sell your premium kind of guy and buy it back kind of guy, that's where it lives. So now it's easy to get your tank back. Just wanted to throw that out for you guys. Now let's move on to an interesting discussion I had with somebody. All right, so I had a battle on Hemelsdorf, and it was an encounter battle. And Squishy here had a T-57. He was top tier, and he headed into the town and fought like one tank. We got killed in the field because one of our best guns was gone. He's a pretty good player, and I was a little irritated, so I let him know. Now, I didn't call him a F you this or anything. I just said, look, man, you just took our best tank. You did this long flank, and you really hung us out to dry. Well, he comes around, and he ends up winning the game, so does a nice job. It was a near-run thing, but it was a lot closer than it probably should have been had he been in the field helping us wreck things there. So we have a discussion. I dispensed with the preliminaries because it was a little acrimonious. There was nothing terrible. It wasn't, you know, getting to each other's lineage or anything like that, or telling us what to do with farm animals, each other what to do with farm animals. But it was kind of some back and forth. And I essentially said, look, man, do you want to know why I think that you did the wrong thing? Now, before we get into this subject, he won. Got it. He did 5,000 damage. He did 3,000 more than I did. Noted. Good job. He won the game. But I'm talking about when you're looking at the odds, when you're looking at the meta, when you're looking at the I'm going to say the right way, but that's not really what I mean. What I'm talking about is the high percentage way, if you're going with the percentages. I have videos where I talk about going to places that are different, and you can end up winning that way too. So that's, I get it. That's true. But it was an interesting discussion, though, because he said, I know why I did good. They sent 2 tanks to town, and I ended up flanking everything. And I came back and said, he said, in the last quarter when I was on the rails, I bungled a bunch and almost died, but only lived because T-57 reloads in 2 seconds. Yeah, it came close, but he made it happen. Full disclosure, he made it happen. And I said, you left us out to dry in the fight that matters on that map. We did enough to make your long, useless flank mean something. So my point here is, you flanked, but when you do something like that, when you do a non-meta move, you really rely on your team to hold the line long enough for you to make that happen. And when you're a top-tier tank and you do things like that, you remove one of the best, most powerful units in the game for a good minute or 2 or 3, maybe more if you run into too many little tanks and you can't take them down fast enough on that other flank. And yeah, you can have a big game because you farmed a few guys and then eventually got the flank, but if your team doesn't hold, you get completely swarmed and overrun. So why not take your top tier tank and go to the critical terrain? And my contention is, had he done that, we'd have won faster. We'd have kept a few of our tanks alive, and we'd have won easier. So that's the point of what I'm trying to get at. I said, just watch how that map is won. The critical area is the field on encounter. On standard, the city is more important. So he had come back and said, I think the city is very important. But that's different preferences on that part of the map. And I come back and said, look, on encounter, it's one of the interesting maps. I said Hemelsdorf, didn't I? I meant Ensk. I said Hemelsdorf, sorry. I meant Ensk. On Ensk, the difference between standard and encounter is very interesting because on standard, the city is the place where the big heavy hitters typically go. It is the place. But on encounter, you're already spawned in the field. The enemy is right there. And the flank, even though it's a small map, takes quite a long time to get around. And more often than not, your field gets rolled up, and by the time you flank and get around, you're down too many tanks to recover. Usually. I'm not saying it can't happen the other way. He says, I never like shifting away from the cap on encounter modes because if the enemy wins that area, they dictate how the fight has to pan out. So then we got into more of his thought process of on encounter, he likes to go to the caps. And I said, look, there's only one map really where that is a good idea or important, and that is steps because it's such a long drive. You can go to cap on steps, kill what they have, and then turn back. And as long as you get up off cap and stop the guys who have won on the other side from pushing the cap, you can do the cap thing. I don't particularly like it that way, but it's such a big map. Sometimes the slow tanks have to kind of head towards cap to begin with. That one is really a little bit to taste, and you have to pay attention to what your team's doing. But on Hemelsdorf, not Hemelsdorf, on, Hemelsdorf and Ensk, both of those are small maps on encounter. They play completely different than the standard mode, and going to cap's a bad idea for the exact reason of you take those guns out of the fight for most of the battle, or at least the early part of the battle when early hit point losses start to cascade. So we talk a little bit about that, and I see it differently. Everyone spawns in the field. It's a tiny map, and encounter caps take forever. Remember, that's one of the most important things about this. Capping an encounter takes a very long time. It's not like you go pile 3 on and fast cap. It doesn't work that way. Every enemy tank that goes city is out of the fight for at least 2 minutes, and probably more. Kill their field tanks and come at them from any angle you want on cap. People who go to cap don't fight till the end, so they have volunteered to not matter for a long time. Let them not matter. So don't take your tank to not matter. Make them go somewhere that doesn't matter. There's a lot more back and forth, so I thought that was pretty good. I said, I had to do a little self-promotion, told him I had a YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully he subscribed. Maybe he's even watching this. They're Squishy Squid. So long and the short of that, I thought it was an interesting discussion. You can pause and read all the rest of that stuff right there. But it's just more and more discussion about kind of how we both looked at it. And it was 2 ways to look at how to win the game. I'm right, of course. Well, I am. But of course, he won the game, right? I died. I only did 2,000. He did 5,000. He won the game. But when I see things like that, and when I do videos on games like that, I always caveat that with, look, this worked. It is not the high percentage play. If you're good enough, then good on you. Do that if you want. But if you do that every time, you're probably going to lose some win percentage, because it is not the high percentage play. If you're Hail Marying every game, you're playing football, and every throw you have is as far as you can throw it, you might be pretty good at that, and you might win some games like that. But you're going to, over time, not win as many as you could if you were also good at other kinds of throws, not just the Hail Mary. So that's kind of, that big long flank idea is kind of a Hail Mary idea. Okie doke. Let's move on. So that's a nice segue actually into talking a little bit about stats. First of all, this is an interesting site right here, and it is called, as soon as I figured it out, it is called WattInfo. So wattinfo.net. All right, wattinfo.net. And what it has is the standard stat stuff, but it's got a very interesting stat that I haven't seen captured, and it's penetrations percent and penetrations received percent, and that is something you don't see a whole lot. Now what I've done is I've called up my stats, and I've called up the number 3 on the NA server, at least as far as the Hall of Fame says in the client. Gassuball has 25,000 or 20,000 battles, or sorry, 11,000 battles. 11,000 battles. That's a good sample size. I have 76,000. That's a ridiculous amount. One of the things I talked about Squishy Squid about was that, hey, the way you're doing it is a great way for about 50 to 53% win rate. If you go to places, you learn how to stay alive, you farm damage, you stay away from the main fight and do your best, you're going to get pretty good damage, and you can be a 52, 53% player. If you do what I'm doing, you can be a 58% player, where you try to go to the critical points. If you're going to be this guy at 62%, there's some other things you've got to do. And I think this number, this penetrations and penetrations received, speaks a lot to that. Now, here's the problem right off the bat with that penetrations number. What I don't know is how exactly that's calculated. My assumption is that of every shot you hit with, it tells you whether it was a penetration or not. It doesn't speak to whether, and I don't know whether it counts pen no damages, so crit no damages. I don't know what it does with HE and Arty, or whether it even talks to HE, because that can skew the results as well. So take this number a little bit with a grain of salt, but look at it in a bigger picture, because over a sample size of 76,000 or even 11,000, even those things are going to even out a little bit. And you can take the bigger picture stat and kind of infer some ideas here, or at least start to infer some ideas. One important thing here to recognize is he plays an average of 9.22 tier, and I'm at 7.61. So that's going to reduce some things like average damage a little bit, but not that much. The point of me putting him and he and I up there is that he's much, much better than me. So let's look at what the numbers say about that. Well, right off the bat, a 62% win rate is 4% better than me. Anything at 60 and above is a very, very good player, especially at an average tier of 9.22 and 11,000 battles. That's good. Hit percent. I'm at 73. He's at 82. Now this one is extremely important. People talk a lot in this game about how it's about positioning and twitch skills. Some people will say don't matter or don't matter that much. Well, the fact of the matter is they do. Given everything else equal, I'm also good at positioning, I'm good at reading the battle, and I'm good at repositioning and going where I need to be. If those are the same against two players, one has better twitch skills than the other, then that's going to be reflected in some of the stats. And one of them is going to be hit percent. Well, Guido, that's, doesn't matter. Well, it actually does. Your reactions, you are getting the pipper in the right place at the right time. That is influenced very obviously by your positioning, by how you fight your tank, how you get your shots, that kind of thing. But the twitch skills of moving the mouse and getting the pipper on the right spot of the tank are reflected in things like hit percent. So right off the bat, he is 10% more hit percent. 10% more of the shots he sends down range are hitting the target than mine. That is potential damage if he gets the pins. Again, does not count artillery. I don't know how that works right there, but that's a significant stat, in my opinion, between the two players. This one's incredible. I only pin 37.55% of my shots. He pins 65.56. I think that also speaks to twitch kind of skills right there. That one's sobering, actually, because holy cow, that's amazing. My survival is actually better than his, which I think is part of why I'm able to come closer to him than other people potentially. I'm surviving and able to do a little more damage and influence the battle a little bit more than he is. So if his was at 40, he'd be even better. But clearly, he's getting to the right place and doing the right damage, sitting at 62.4% win rate. Damage dealt received, I'm at 1.71, which is pretty good. He's at 1.91, which is even better. You look at the average XP, I'm a little bit lower than him. 0.42 on my armor efficiency, he's at 0.54. Now, again, this can be influenced by what kind of tanks you drive. If you're only a light tank driver, some of these things are going to change around, obviously. But again, over that many battles and the amount of different tanks he and I have both played, it's still an apt comparison to say, you know what? He actually uses his armor better than I do. My assist is lower. That's just straight up. He's plain old assists better than I do. Average damage at 2,959. I'm down at 1,600. That is influenced by the tier change. That definitely, but still, I am considerably lower. I imagine if you just took him and found his average of 7.61, it would still be well above me. As far as if he was fighting the same tier level I was, he would still be well above me. Based on the percentage he is only, what is it, a tier and a half maybe? And he's a good 1,300 more damage a game than I do. Holy cow. I kill 1.38 per battle. He gets 1.58. I spot 1.32. He spots 1.96. He actually spots more than I do. That's amazing, actually, because it means he's aggressive. He's getting up there. He's not sitting back and farming, not all the time anyway. Penetrations received, he's pretty high. This one was interesting to me because I'm looking at this going, I only pen 38% of the time, and I get pen 69% of the time. What on earth? But his is pretty high as well. This may speak again to the type of armored tanks that you use, but still, interesting stat. It's less than mine, though, isn't it? It's less than mine. 1.18, 1.02, 1.77 capture. He only has 0.42 capture. Now, I spent a lot of time when I first started playing jumping on caps and attempting to cap. So that skewed a little bit, but I still do that more than I probably should. He rarely ever does it. He's busy killing everything in sight. Busy killing everything in sight. I actually have a few more average defense points per battle than he does. Probably because I last a little longer than he does. But it's not by much. It's really the only stat And it's a questionable stat as to its meaning exactly, really, in regards to who's a better player. It's the only one that I'm ahead of him on, really. 2.3 kills per death. He's at 2.36. That one's fairly close. 389 average blocked. He's at 747. He knows how to block damage better than I do. Average assist, and his assist average is way higher. So he's better at the vision game. Wrapping all that up, stats. He's just better, right? He does everything better than I do. And that's all reflected in the stats. It's clear as day. So when you say, well, stats don't matter and you got to take them into context, that's true as far as the context part goes, but they do matter. And when you have somebody number 3 on the server, and you look at me, who I'm actually a pretty good player, you can right away see that, look, he is doing things in the game better than I am. They're reflected in the stats. They're reflected in his win rate. It's just the way it is. You can hate stats all day long, but I thought that was an interesting comparison. And this penetrations and percent and receive percent is really interesting. Now, there was a forum post on this on the NA forums, on the official forums. And what was really interesting is there were good players who had wildly different percents as far as their percent penned and their percent received. And I think that has a lot to do with which tanks they're driving and some other things. But it was not a direct correlation. So I'm not out here saying, look, you're better if your penetrations percent is high and your penetrations received is low, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that. It is an interesting stat, though, to take a look at. But when you take the holistic picture of these two players and their stats, it's clear which one's better. It just is. Better player. All right, and that's that. Let's move on. Well, okay, friends, that is it. I am actually not done with my coffee because I recharged. Remember how I said I take a break and go do stuff? Well, there you go. But you didn't see it. That's all I've got. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Keep on sending the videos. I am slowing down a little bit on the video creation. I've been very busy otherwise in life. That you'll still get videos. There may be some days where there's not too. I'm sure everyone will be all teared up and sad. But that is it. That's all I've got for this week. We'll see you out there.